Welcome to Morning Java, which is, of course, brought to you by Get Go Cafe and Markets, where you can get the breakfast special this month. That's $3.99 for a coffee, hash browns, and a sandwich.
Or you can get 2 croissant sandwiches for just $6 and fill yourself up on some bread.
One team that may need to fill itself up is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who went out and laid a big egg.
Yes, they did.
They've gotten half the sandwich there already with a 42-37 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs at Heinz Field.
And that's back-to-back 40 points or more given up by this defense at Heinz Field, considering Blake Bortles, what he did with the Jaguars last season. Also, that's back-to-back games where they've been down 21-0 to start the game. Now, yes, they did tie it up in this game, but still, it's obvious the defense was a huge problem. They were miscommunicating. They were lost on where they were. A lot of late hand signals, not sure who's supposed to be on the field. Dale, at this point, I know it's early in the season, but shouldn't that be a thing of the past right now?
You would hope so. They do have some new faces in that secondary this year, but there's no excuse for that. You can't have those kind of things happen, and they did, and once again, it burned them. You can't give up 6 touchdown passes in a game. That's only the second time in team history that's happened. The last time was in 1991 to Jim Kelly in the K-gun offense.
It's something that I look at when I'm looking at the tape right now. And my live take was that a lot of times guys were running straight up the field and there was no help coming. There was one touchdown where Artie Burns was on the outside, looked like he was looking for inside help. There was another touchdown where Kelsey ran right past Vince Williams. He thought a safety would be there. Nobody was there. When we talked to the safeties, everyone was saying the game plan was there. We just didn't do our jobs.
Chris, Artie Burns coming back from a toe injury. He didn't practice fully on Friday. He didn't practice at all on Friday. Didn't practice, was iffy on Thursday. Goes out and gives up 3 touchdowns in this game.
It was a tough game for Artie Burns. The one you could say maybe shouldn't have been his fault because he should have had safety coverage, but either way, he still had a really bad game, was getting beat up and down the field. Tyreek burned him on the deep ball when the Steelers, that's what they bank on a lot, is they want their cornerbacks to play island coverage to let the safeties and the linebackers work in the middle. And Joe Hayden being gone put Cameron Sutton and Cody Sensabaugh out there. So the Steelers were banking on Artie Burns being that guy outside the numbers that says you're not taking advantage of this side, yet he was the guy they took advantage of a lot in this game.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. Again, I don't know how banged up he was, but certainly he was out there, so he was healthy enough to play.
If you're on the field, you should be making plays. Artie Burns, I don't think he had a single pass defense.
He only had one in the game.
Yeah. Well,
Patrick Mahomes only had, 5 incompletions
He had 5
in the game.
incompletions and 6 touchdowns. And you got to really look at right now, this Steelers secondary is supposed to turn into the strength of the team, and today it was the biggest liability, something that was a common thing a few years ago and supposed to not be a thing anymore.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting as well that they just had too many guys running free in that secondary.
Oh, yeah.
That can't happen, especially against a good team like the Kansas City Chiefs. If they were trying to confuse Patrick Mahomes, they only served to confuse themselves. After the Steelers got down 21-0 in the first quarter, they fought their way back into it, tying the score 21 at the half, and you thought, well, maybe we'll have a ball game here. And then the offense kind of faltered again in the third quarter and allowed the Chiefs to separate again.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. It's just when the defense is making plays, the offense wasn't. When the offense was making plays, the defense wasn't. And that was a common thing with the Jaguars' loss as well in the playoffs. You saw 21-0. The Steelers' offense just looked like it was in complete disarray, unable to get the ball up the field. Ben Roethlisberger missing open receivers, and then all of a sudden they started clicking. They were able to tie the game up, and then all of a sudden that stopped in the third quarter. Right now, you got to look at what's going on with Ben Roethlisberger. He's able to make plays. There's plenty of plays. He extends the play. Had a few really nice balls to Jesse James on an adjustment. And I think that chemistry is becoming something special for the team because without those big plays, I'm not even sure that they make it this close to make it 5 points.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed the most is that Antonio Brown was taken out of the game again, showed some frustration on the sidelines, left the locker room before talking to anybody today. He is frustrated that they're not able to get the ball to him. I think he misses Le'Veon Bell more than anybody else.
And on top of that, you had to look at another situation. The Steelers had a 3rd and short. They put Ryan Switzer in the slot and not Antonio Brown. He was on the sidelines for a key 3rd down in the second half. You wonder, with the undefeated piece that came out against him, with all the talk about who he is and what's going on, and now he's not getting put in for big plays, what could be going through Antonio Brown's mind right now?
So the big question now is, Chris, is where do the Steelers go from here? At 0-1-1, it's not over yet. There's 14 games left in the season. The first answer to that question will be to Tampa Bay next week to face a red-hot Tampa Bay team that beat the Eagles today and has already racked up a couple of wins behind Ryan Fitzpatrick. But this team needs to dig down deep and figure itself out really quick.
The Saints and the Eagles are the two teams that Ryan Fitzpatrick shredded. Both were expected to have two of the best defenses in the NFL coming into this season, and now the Steelers have to face that offense. And in their stadium, that's a lot to take on. The one thing that I heard the Steelers say consistently is like, well, we at least have a long week because it's a Monday night game. They're going to need something to kick in because this defense just got shredded by a young quarterback in just his third NFL career start. And now you're going up against a veteran in Ryan Fitzpatrick that's red hot with a talented offense. Deshaun Jackson is looking very good right now. Dale, I think that they're in a lot of trouble if they're not able to figure out why people were running free and how they're going to be able to seam up. This is where we're covering on these types of plays.
Yeah, and I think the big key here is that this team cannot afford to fall to 0-2-1. I know it's only the third game of the season, but it's a must-win for the Steelers.